Alright, hey everybody, welcome to episode 25 of Digitized Desperadoes, milestone
God
25th
damn it.
episode.
I told you not to say milestone.
Nah, suffer.
But it
And
is.
we're
Okay.
doing Pan's Labyrinth by
Actually-
Guillermo Del Toro.
See, the
El
thing that
Labyrinth
bothers me,
del Fano.
yeah, fauna. But anyway, the thing that bothers me is that Pan is not relevant.
Pan is he is a faun.
Yeah, he's the god of fawns, but he is not present in this movie at all.
Yeah.
I don't
Pan
get
is
the
relevant.
title. I don't know where it comes from, but
Well,
I don't know who changed it, but
it was only the international release because in its original language, it's just the Labyrinth of Fawn of the
yeah,
Fawn,
that's what it says at the end.
right? Because that's
Yeah.
the actual title, and it makes more
the
sense
actual title.
because there's just a generic fawn and not Pan.
and it's his labyrinth.
Well, it's not his. He's just a servant.
He's the only one you see.
Everything about the title is wrong.
Yeah.
there
really
is a labyrinth.
I'm judging this movie entirely based on its title
Accuracy to the
to
title.
film accuracy.
Which film would succeed this test?
Star Wars.
Shrek.
Star Wars, yeah.
There's wars
there's a lot
and
that
it's in
would-
space.
7
I think
psychopaths, but one would argue
Yeah.
that there's more.
No, there's less because
There's less.
the one guy
Oh,
is
yeah.
two of them.
All
This
right,
is an amazing tangent.
Shrek wins.
Shrek 4.
Oh, there are 4 Shreks?
Yes.
No, I meant
I
is
think
there
Shrek
4 of
4's
him in the movie? Then no, it's wrong.
Shrek
Shrek
3
4
was bad. Shrek 4 was apparently good, but nobody saw it.
Shrek 4
5
was
is
great.
coming.
I saw it in theater.
I haven't seen it. Anyways.
Okay.
That is as far of a movie away from this movie you could possibly convince me exists.
There's the same struggle. It's fairy tale creatures.
Oh yeah, there is fairy tale creatures, I
Oh,
guess. Okay.
Welcome to the Shrek cast.
I would gladly watch Shrek with you guys.
Is that a proposal?
Yes, we'll do that now.
Because we're doing a Shrek episode.
What is this? So Pan's Labyrinth. Spanish
Yeah.
Civil War.
So this is a really depressing movie.
It is, but
Yes.
I quite like it.
I liked
enjoyed it.
I
enjoyed
liked it a bit.
Which no one should be surprised. This is a great movie.
It's a pretty good movie.
It's a pretty darn good movie.
It's dark when it needs to be, and it's
It's-
not all bad. It's not all like. It's not
Doom and
overly
gloom.
depressing. It's just
It's
very
pretty
depressing.
depressing.
I know, but like it's never like too much, you know.
I don't know. I think it's like 85% depressing.
I know, but like it doesn't go any further than it needs to be. I don't know.
I
And
guess,
it goes
yeah.
hard. I'm not saying it doesn't go hard.
Oh yeah, no, it goes hard.
So basically, our little summary is that this is Spain in 1944. This is after a civil war, I believe, where the regime is clearing out the rebels. Like
Mhm.
the rebels lost. The
Fascism won.
Regime won. And so they go to this, I guess, countryside kind of area, this strange mansion, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
this girl is forced to live with this general. I forget.
He's some commanding officer.
Captain, I
They're
believe?
always different military
he's a captain.
rankings. I don't know how it works.
I'm looking.
Yeah, but basically he's
Oh,
a
he's referred to as the captain.
Oh, he's a captain?
The captain.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, he wants to adopt her. Well, he doesn't really care about her. He wants to be the father
son
of...
from her
He
mother.
just wants a son.
Yeah.
He
That's all he
impregnated
cares
this.
about.
He impregnated this woman and just wants her to have a son.
Yeah,
If it's a daughter, it's implied that he would kill
yeah.
it. So there's this whole community here in this mansion. You have the servants, you have the army men, and
And
you
the
have
doctor.
the doctor. You have the servant Mercedes, Dr. Ferreiro.
I don't know.
Dr. Ferreiro. Oh my god.
I wouldn't know.
It's been too long. So the doctor.
He's literally labeled... Like, I have a characters list up, and on Google character list, whatever it is, it's labeled as doctor.
Yeah.
His name's not listed.
That's what he is, man.
And then you have the main character, Ophelia,
Yes.
and you have the mom. Does the mom have a name? Oh,
The
Carmen.
mom's name was
Carmen.
Carmen.
Yeah. So
and Captain's name is Vidal.
Vidal. Just call him Captain.
Yeah, I just call him
Yeah.
Captain the whole time.
Anyway, so you have this whole. There's segments that switch between. There's segments where it's just the mansion. It's focusing on the people, the rebels, and the fascist army.
We have not once even mentioned that there's fantasy elements yet.
I was just going to say, and then you have the segments of Ophelia wandering and imagining or living a fairy tale, depending on
your interpretation.
She escapes this horrible fascist captain and goes into the forest and finds a broken labyrinth. She never actually navigates a real labyrinth, and she finds this faun who, man, when I first saw the faun, oh my god.
Yeah, he's really creepy looking.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
Good practical effects. Doug Jones doing what he does best.
See, the great
good
thing.
Good voice acting.
We already know Doug Jones is great, but you probably if you looked up anything about this movie, you'd probably find this little factoid. Doug Jones doesn't know Spanish.
Yeah, no, he's voiced over. He's just doing the physical performance.
Well, yeah, but he learned his lines phonetically, and he mouths them.
Oh!
He did actually originally voice them, but Guillermo was like, sorry.
Yeah, he's like, it's not very good.
Still, that's impressive.
Yeah, he learned his lines phonetically, which is so cool. Bueno. That's so much effort.
Cool.
That's muy bueno.
And that's only the first shout-out to Doug Jones that we're going to do.
In this movie, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, I'm just looking at the character list, and I just realized he was both of them.
Yes, which is intentional.
But the faun is just amazing when you see him.
He looks so creepy and so otherworldly, but also he's like planty.
Yeah, he's like been in the labyrinth so long. It reminds me of like a little bit of that damn Pirates of the Caribbean movie where they're all becoming part of the ship or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
like he's
in a good way.
Plant, he's animal. He's like kind of almost got like a stone feel to him almost.
Yeah,
he's very slow.
He's just nature.
All of the practical effects. There's some CG on him, but all the practical effects look amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the great parts of this movie. There are a lot of amazing practical effects, even though there's a good amount of CG, especially with little fairy guys.
The fairies and the toad.
Yeah.
This is what 2000.
It's 2006.
Yeah. So this is a ways back.
It looks amazing.
It's good.
So yeah, basically, his role. We were talking about the faun. We didn't mention it. He tells Ophelia that she's like the princess to this lost kingdom that's like a different dimension or something, right?
The underworld.
Yeah, the underworld.
Basically. Yes.
And he tells her that her parents have been looking for her for quite some time, and she needs to come back.
Well, the lore of it is,
she's like the reincarnation.
Yeah.
They tell you this at the beginning in a fairy tale form, is that a princess of the underworld went up, which, in my notes, this is horrible, reverse Undertale.
No, I really did like that opening narration bit. It looks really good, and the narrator's voice is great. But I think that might just be the faun.
You expect something kind of nice, but then the princess immediately dies, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this princess has been reincarnated a million times, and the current incarnation is Ophelia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the faun is like, finally, we found you. You have these 3 tasks you have to do to return home to make sure you're immortal.
Also, we're the last one, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's implied.
I think he mentions it.
Briefly. Yeah, he mentions this is the only gate opening left. Because they looked like everywhere else.
Yeah. And so he gives her 3 different tasks to do. The first one is to go to a frog and force feed him 3 magic stones.
Yes.
The second is the Pale Man, and the third is
the end of
the movie.
Yeah. The third is the end of the movie.
I mean, we've already skipped some stuff if you wanted to go scene by scene.
Yeah, I wanted to get into Captain.
In the very beginning, we get a very colorful image of Captain Vidal.
There's the scene where the doctor's like, "How are you sure the baby's gonna be a male?" And he responds,
he says, "Don't fuck
with me." What did he mean by this?
Don't fuck with me.
What do you mean?
It's just such a weird response. Where it's like, what do you? How's the baby gonna be a boy? Don't fuck with me.
I mean, it's literally just him saying, "It is a boy," and if it's not, it's dead.
I know, it's just such a funny response.
Yeah.
And then there's the scene where he takes the father and son hunters hostage. My jaw was like wide fucking open. My mouth was on the floor. That whole scene when he murdered them. Oh my god.
Yeah, so basically there's these two hunters and they're like, "Oh, we were just out hunting rabbits," and they're like, "You sure you're not with the resistance?" And they pull out,
to be fair, they looked very suspicious.
They were being being a little suspicious, but they're like, "No, we're just hunting rabbits."
You have propaganda on you.
Yeah.
And so then the captain takes a bottle and smashes the son's face in.
Yeah, and then I think he shoots them.
Gone out and shoots the father, and it's just it's so brutal.
Yeah, he shoots them both, and then he searches their bag, and they find a dead rabbit carcass, and they weren't fucking lying. They were telling the truth. They were just hunting. And it's at this moment I want to mention that I watched this film in a Spanish class in high school.
Yeah, This
is really brutal for this is the most brutal thing I've ever seen in school. It was amazing.
It's a very
that and I'm like, oh my god.
The first time I saw it, at least.
And that's like the moment where you're just like, okay, the captain's a very bad person.
Yeah, no redeem.
And he only gets worse.
I mean, they give you a very consistent image of what fascism was really like.
Yeah.
You know? They do no hiding. They do no prettying it up. It's horrible. There's a lot of scenes like that in this movie that we'll get to. But anyway, that scene also is something that Guillermo does a lot. I remember when I watched most of Crimson Peak, there's a scene very much like that in there. He likes those long, drawn out execution scenes.
Yeah,
they really drive the point in of that person is horrible. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a good way of doing it. It's very effective.
It's accurate, yeah. It's like how in JoJo, Araki always makes his villains beat up animals because they're a bad person if they do that.
They're that's a scumbag right there.
Right.
Another thing I want to mention is the cinematography.
It's great, yeah.
It's
really
good.
Great.
It's in line with Guillermo's other work.
Guillermo Del Toro is a regular partner of Del Toro. He also worked on From Dusk Till Dawn, Spy Kids.
Spy Kids, say what you want. Spy Kids has good cinematography.
Yeah, he's a good buddy with Del Toro as well as Robert Rodriguez. He works on a lot of their stuff.
I don't think
it's so good. I really like I don't know, for some reason I really just like
I really like the use of color.
Yeah, color's good. Do. Just the way the camera cuts, specifically all the going past an object and then changing to another shot, like the trees or during the shaving scene.
That's more an editing thing than the cinematography, but yeah.
I really enjoy that. It's very well done.
The cinematography didn't quite stand out to me, but yes, the editing was amazing.
I guess the word I'm looking for is camera work. Then camera work and editing.
The picture composition, a lot of the times, also I really enjoyed.
Mm.
That's very nice.
Yeah. Especially I like the colors they use in the freaking frog scene. How everything's orange in there.
The frog scene.
I think the frog scene itself is a little. I think the frog scene itself is a little boring.
No, I love it. It's amazing.
I don't know.
I think it's one of the better ones.
But I really like the use of color in it.
Also, you guys should probably know this. This validates everything we've said so far. Guess what? Academy Awards it won.
What? Editing?
Best cinematography. Best art direction. Best makeup.
Best makeup, yeah.
Of course.
Ironically, nothing for Guillermo. It was all his staff.
Huh.
which is kind of sad.
I'm sure he was happy to have his movie win those 3 awards.
Oh yeah,
of course, absolutely. Sure.
Especially a foreign language film. Like, geez.
Yeah.
At the Oscars.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go on to the trials. So Ophelia wanders and finds the Fawn, as we talked about, and is given a picture book that only... I was unclear on the rules of the picture book. It said it only works when she's alone, but she immediately opened it and there was nothing, and she was alone. So I didn't get that, but she likes going into the bath. She likes going into the bath and opening it.
Yeah.
And she finds her first task is to get a key from a toad. And this one, I love the toad scene. She climbs under a tree and gets all muddy, disgusting.
I like that part, yeah.
She puts the nice dress her mother gives her on a tree branch.
Well, yeah, that's another thing.
To get back to later.
She's very careful with it, but it still falls over.
Yep, it still gets blown away by the wind and just ruined.
Yeah.
The toad getting fed the stones and then vomiting up its own guts is so nasty.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. But also,
with like mid-2000s CG, it's just like, oh.
It's a weird combination because it wasn't CG. I think it was basically they took 2 different practical effects and superimposed them with CG, and that's where it looks. I think that's where it looks weird.
Okay.
Yeah, but
it's just so gross when it starts puking up its insides.
Yeah,
like,
I was very happy that the first time I saw this movie, it was in that Spanish class, because I didn't know it was gonna happen, but I was able to like take it in. I'm like, oh, it's a weird ass foreign movie. I literally knew nothing about it when I saw it in the Spanish class, but I loved watching every single person in that class's reaction to that scene.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They were like, "What is this movie?"
But the symbolism of the toad I like a lot, because they literally give a line, I think it's in the story, that the toad is growing fat while the tree dies. And it's like, yeah, I guess that's how Guillermo views, fascists in Spain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that continues with Pale Man.
We should probably mention the captain. He has this stopwatch that has been broken on a specific time, and someone tells the story to him that his father in a war said, "When I die, I'll break the stopwatch and have it given to my sons, so he knows when a true man dies," or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he claims that no such thing happened.
Yeah. But that is actually the case, and he's like trying to fix the stopwatch.
And he constantly obsesses over it. He I think he tries to break it at some point, and he constantly tries to live up. Like, this is really subtle. You have to watch and pay attention.
Yeah.
They don't
he's
really
constantly
bring it
fixing it throughout the movie,
but
in
also,
his office.
In his office, you see gears and like cogs in the background, and it symbolizes the inside of the clock. How he's like trapped in it. It's so cool.
I didn't notice that.
Did you guys notice that?
No, I didn't.
Good.
You guys should go back and look at just a still of his office, because it just looks like the inside of a stopwatch. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
The set design is amazing.
Well, I didn't even realize that. You mentioned the symbolism with the frog earlier, and now thinking back, that Mitch said there's also symbolism in the next scene. Didn't even faze me. Like, I didn't realize it throughout either viewing. I'm going to be honest. But
why do you think
I totally see it, though.
In your class?
What?
Oh, no, I remember.
Oh, it's completely lost within my first class. But, like, when I watched this again on my own, I didn't see it myself. But I'm glad that I got to hear that, because I totally see it now.
No, yeah, I remember from, like, a tweet Guillermo said where it's like, no, the Pale Man is fascism. He's greedy, hogging all this food for himself.
Well,
he's white.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, we can actually. Guillermo said soon after the movie's release that the Pale Man is supposed to represent the Catholic Church.
Oh,
so
because he
should probably explain the scene first.
Okay, so the second trial, which we're skipping a bit, we're skipping like the Mandrake and stuff, but we'll get to that. The second trial is Ophelia, and this part is amazing because there's almost no dialogue after she gets the task. she has to draw a chalk wall, a chalk door, go into it, and she has a time limit. She has to find a... Was it a key? Yeah.
She has a key, and she has to find out what slot to put it in, and then she gets a knife.
She use the key. Yeah. So she has to get a knife from the Pale Man.
There's 3 keyholes.
The Pale Man has a great feast in front of him, but he's asleep. He has to grab his eyes from the table.
Yeah, his eyes are on a plate that are right in front of him, and she's told specifically not to take or eat anything from the great feast in front of the Pale Man.
The Pale Man is the freakiest fucking thing I've ever seen in a movie.
Okay,
it's the thing that a lot of people know about this movie that haven't seen
that's the most famous thing is Pale Man.
I've seen a lot of GIFs of the Pale Man with his eyes on his hands, and I'm like, oh, that's creepy, but not that bad. The creepiest part is when he stands up and you see the bottom half.
When you see him moving, when he gets up and starts walking, that's the worst.
He's all fat, or it's like he has all these dead, just nothing skin.
He's skinny, but he just has all this loose skin. Hanging off of his sides.
And also, when Ophelia goes in, she sees wall carvings and paintings of him eating children.
Yes,
there's a bunch of shoes. There's a bunch of shoes to his side, child's shoes.
Yeah.
Which that lends well to Guillermo's Catholic Church thing, because he said the priests would ignore the feast in front of them and go after children.
Yep.
So
there it is.
In 2006, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, we should go back a bit. So there.
But also, just before that, and yes, second shout out to Doug Jones for portraying the most unsettling creature I've ever seen in film. Oh my God.
Doug Jones is so good in this movie.
He's the best at this under heavy makeup and prosthetics kind of character acting, suit acting. It's great.
I honestly think if it was anyone else, this movie might not be as good,
Yeah.
But anyway, there's 2 more things before the second task. There's the dinner party, which Ophelia is not allowed to eat at because she ruined the dress. And then there's the mandrake, because her mother isn't doing so well, and the fawn is like, you're grumbling about your mom, so I'm going to give you this mandrake root that'll make her better.
Oh no, well, before the mandrake, there's Ophelia opens the book, and what is very obviously a uterus appears in the book, and then she goes outside the bathroom, and her mother is bleeding profusely.
It's a weird baby fetus plant root thing.
Oh, I was just talking about before even.
Before that. Oh, I was thinking of the.
I was so untrusting of the fawn when he was given the mandrake. I was like, I don't trust this. I don't trust this. I don't like.
I don't trust that.
I don't trust him from the very beginning.
Well, yeah, because
he's nice in the beginning,
the one
but
girl
then
said,
the mandrake onward, you get the sense that I don't like this guy.
The one girl, I don't think we've mentioned her, who's with the Resistance. She mentioned to Ophelia, I think at one point, to not trust fawns or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they were talking about fairy tales.
Oh yeah. Mercedes' whole subplot is a whole nother thing to get into.
Yeah.
We will get to that later.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in this movie.
There's a lot in this movie. This movie has so much in it. It's great.
We are skipping the rebel plot, but let's just skip it for now and focus on Ophelia.
Yes.
So anyway, Ophelia was starved at the dinner party because she ruined the dress. So when she's at the Pale Man's feast, obviously she's going to want to eat, because she's been starved for 2 days at this.
That actually explains it. Oh my gosh.
Which
I was just watching. I was like, no, don't.
I didn't catch that my first time either. Yeah.
It's of course she was starving.
Yeah, that I really liked how that's a very realistic kid thing to do. Not because she's a stupid kid, but because she's literally been starved.
She's been starved, and she
does better than she's just a dumb kid. It's no, she's really fucking hungry.
She does take two, and she does take food, but she only takes 2 grapes or something like that.
Yeah.
Out of the whole thing, she's like, oh, well, if I'm gonna take food, I'm gonna take something that's not gonna be missed or something like that,
But it's the Pale Man.
Yeah.
And he's very greedy.
I mean, she gets away.
Yes.
Barely.
Turns out fine. Actually, the Pale Man eats 2 fairies.
Yeah, the Pale Man eats 2 fairies, and the fawn is pissed.
Which is fine, because the fairies suck.
Yeah. They're kind of weird looking anyways.
Oh, well, when they start out, they're freaky looking bugs.
They're just stick bugs. They're real bugs.
Yeah. And then they morph into fairies.
So,
okay, so the Fawn tells Ophelia, like, you screwed up, you're the worst, you failed the tasks, you're done.
Mhm.
Which, yeah.
Yeah.
Oof. Movie's over, let's go home.
That's kind of how it is for a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like,
it just transitions to Rebel plotline for a bit.
it does, yeah.
But we should probably talk about the Rebel plot now.
Yes.
So there's these two characters, Mercedes and the Doctor, who are very important. The Doctor is only there to take care of Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
And Mercedes is just a servant.
Yeah, she works, basically. She's a cook.
And in the beginning, they just seem kind of nice. Mercedes is very kind to Ophelia. But eventually you find out they're both undercover with the rebels.
Mm-hmm. It hints at it early on when she's sneaking out the knife in her. She's like in the kitchen. Yeah. She keeps putting it in her apron every scene that you see her in.
That is never. They never follow up with that.
They don't. But, it's implied that she's like hiding the knife.
She does that later. She uses it later.
Oh yeah, she does. Oh God, she does.
Lest you.
Oh God, she does.
That amazing scene.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Doctor, they play both sides basically. They do help the captain, but every once in a while at night they sneak out and they help the rebels.
Mm-hmm.
There's this very, I don't know if necessary is the right word, but there's this very powerful scene where the Doctor has to amputate one of the rebels.
Oh.
I thought they were going to show more, but they showed enough.
Yeah, they showed enough. They didn't show the actual sawing off, and I'm thankful for it.
Into the leg is all you need.
I find it hard to justify that scene. It's a bit too long.
I think it was. It only adds a little bit more depression to this movie.
It introduces Mercedes' brother and also the one rebel with the stutter.
Oh yeah, the stutter guy.
Yeah,
he's important.
He's important, yeah.
Like they show this guy with
and also shows that hey, the rebels are in really dire straits right now.
They show the guy with the stutter, and you're like, ha ha, funny comedic relief. But then it becomes really.
Yeah, I think we'll go into it because we're just doing the rebel plot. So later on, they have another fight. Am I skipping
the rebels and the fascists?
There's another skirmish, and afterwards, the captain's looking for prisoners to take, and he shoots all of them that can't talk, but the guy with the stutter is still alive.
Oh man, that scene where he shoots all of them, though.
What?
That scene where he shoots all of them. He's like, he's looking at his friends and not his friends, his army men, and they're all like scared, hiding behind cover, and he just like cocks his gun and just walks out there. It's insane.
Oh yeah, no, there's a scene earlier, or like around the time he gets captured or something, but there's just a scene where the captain is walking in the rain with sunglasses and the coat over his shoulders, and he looks like a fucking supervillain. It's really sad. Like he's M. Bison.
Anyway, so the guy with the stutter is caught and tortured
brutally.
He's the one that they called the Doctor in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the Doctor... Well, no, this is later. This is pretty late on in the movie because the Doctor, Mercy kills him.
Yes.
And then they figure out the Doctor was on the other side the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I think the reasoning they use is pretty awful because it's the little antibiotic glass.
And I was just like, well, what if your team dropped that?
Maybe that's just the typical antibiotic glass. Like, what does that imply?
Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's been on the inside. That could have just meant that they got stolen. In general,
I mean, also they needed any excuse to kill the Doctor.
Yeah,
because they didn't
they found the antibiotics earlier with the.
Well, no, I'm just saying that the antibiotics are a flimsy excuse.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the point, but
that is true. Yeah.
So, around the same time,
the Mandrake.
The Mandrake. Oh, there's a scene where the captain finds Ophelia under the bed, messing with the Mandrake.
Yeah, trying to feed it the drops of blood
the
that it
Mandrake's
needs every
purpose
day.
is to heal the mother, like make it so the baby doesn't kill her.
It turns out that the Mandrake was like a voodoo doll for the mother.
Yes.
And he throws it in the fire and kills the mom.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's the worst. Oh wait, no, she does it. Carmen does it.
Carmen.
She basically kills herself.
She's like, there is no such thing as fairy tales or something like that when she does that.
Yeah.
And so she ends up dying during the birth because the captain told... This is when the doctor is still alive. The captain told the doctors, like, if it ever comes down to it, if it's ever her or the child, choose the child or something like that.
Yes. Because the captain has no care
he doesn't
for
care
human
for
life.
her at all.
He just wants a son.
He just wants an heir.
Yeah.
And then you get
more specifically, he wants someone to pass on his stopwatch to, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because he wants to do that same kind of like curse his dad.
Yeah, basically,
he wants to pass on the meme in the literal sense.
Right.
Brain. I can't. Days without Metal Gear reference.
Hey, I didn't say Metal Gear. I just said passing on the meme.
It's from Max. It's from.
All right, I just played Metal Gear Rising again, and I did the Monsoon fight. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's move on.
Mercedes also gets captured because she gets found out.
I mean, it's pretty obvious at that point.
Did I skip a bit?
No.
Okay. Mercedes is then found out because it's like, of course, she was also in cahoots. That's what Captain figures.
And Mercedes is extremely capable, much more so than any of the other characters.
The captain does not know this, though.
She keeps that motherfucking thing on her.
So the captain goes in to interrogate her, like he was going to go interrogate, like he had previously interrogated the guy with the stutter. And he had like an assistant last time, and he was like, "Oh, do you want me to stay?" And he's like, "No, she's only a woman. I don't need any help." And so he's alone now. And he turns his back on Mercedes for like 2 seconds, and she had the knife hidden.
She undoes her body.
Stabs him like.
She slices him up so good.
She like stabs him like 4 times, and then puts the knife in his mouth and cuts open his fucking cheek. Oh,
do you want to know?
So good. Like she slices him like down the back and the chest.
Do you want to know?
His mouth open. It's so good.
How I got these scars?
God damn it!
Yeah, he gets a 50% Joker.
It is. Oh,
it's incredible, and then he stitches it up himself.
Yeah, later he stitches his mouth closed, and it's amazing.
And then he puts on a little bandage over it, and then he's like, "I gotta kill the pain," so he drinks alcohol, and then you just see blood fill up the fucking bandage.
I could feel that. I was like, ah.
But then, Mercedes then goes to escape.
Okay, there's a great setup.
Down, but then her brother Pedro and the rest of the rebel crew come in and save her.
No, there's this great like gag. I thought it was funny. I don't know if it was supposed to be a joke, where the stutter guy, because the captain's a horrible person, he's like,
"Oh god, this is earlier when he's interrogating him."
Say something. I forget.
He says count to 5 without count to 4 with without stuttering,
and I'll let you go. And he looks at his assistant, and he's like, "If I say to let him go, you'll listen to me, right? Because I'm the highest person here." And the assistant's like, "Yeah, totally. If you say let him go, I'll totally let him go." And so when Mercedes leaves, the assistant who left is like, "I guess the captain let her go."
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then they see the captain and they're like, "Wait, he's fucked up. Oh no."
Yeah.
Which I laughed a lot at that scene. I shouldn't have. I think it's funny.
Yeah. I mean, there's some deserved justice that you finally get throughout the whole movie, and he's still alive.
But Mercedes gets out and is saved by a rebel ambush, basically, and the rebels start going wild on the mansion.
Yeah, I think they finally got backing or something. I don't know. They got support, and they are finally able to initiate an attack on the mansion.
I didn't follow the rebel plot that well.
Yeah.
I just know that they are attacking the mansion now.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Ophelia has been tasked with her final task to bring
she gets
the
the last chance, which was obviously going to happen. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, of course it was. It was to bring the fawn, her new baby brother, which she has to sneak up while.
Of course, the moment you said, "Hey, I want the baby. Give me the baby." You're like, bad.
That
no,
baby's
that's bad. I don't like that. I don't trust like that.
But so she has to sneak in and get the baby while the captain is still sewing up his lip or his cheek. And it's a very tense scene.
And also while the rebels are starting to attack, I believe.
Yes. This is the climax of the movie at this point.
It's insane.
It's all coming together, and
basically mixes some medicine, like the sleep medicine that her mother had been taking earlier, like a ton of it into the drink of the captain. To like basically disorient him.
Yeah, he's like drugged, and also I think he pretty much drank the whole thing with alcohol too.
Yeah,
he's drugged
and there's a really good effect.
But he sees Ophelia.
There's a really good effect when the medicine starts to take effect, where like the camera starts warping and distorting in the background, and I was like, "Oh, that's really good."
And so he sees Ophelia trying to get.
He's getting drugged.
Yeah. He sees her trying to get the baby, and he chases her, and he chases her while she goes into the labyrinth to give her the thing, give the fawn the babby.
Babby.
Yeah.
The bab.
And I guess she finally
manages
gets there.
To get to the center and encounter the fawn.
While the dad is actually, or the captain is blocked off because of magic. And the fawn's like,
okay,
you gotta sacrifice the baby now.
Now I gotta kill it.
Yeah.
To open the portal with the blood.
And naturally, Ophelia's like, no, what?
Fuck that, no.
Don't kill the baby.
Yeah. He was literally just born. I wanted a brother. And they're like, no, we need the blood of an innocent. And she's like, well, no. And the captain finds his way into the center of the labyrinth, and
he does not see the fawn. He cannot see the fawn.
Yeah.
Which is where the interpretations can start to begin to come from.
Yeah, well...
He's not innocent.
Yeah, he's...
Oh, no, I was meant something else. I was talking about whether or not it happened.
I know, I was kind of
making that at the very end. Well, basically, he shoots the girl.
Just shoots Ophelia, and then takes the baby.
Yeah.
And it turns out that was the right thing to do.
Yes.
Yes, and he goes out of the maze, and by that point, the rebels have completely taken over.
There's this amazing, one of the best scenes in the entire movie, where the captain walks out of the labyrinth into a line. Like, he knows he's dead. There's no way he's getting out of this, and he is forced to hand the baby to Mercedes, and he's like, tell him my name, give him the watch or whatever. I forget his exact line.
Like, tell him the time his father died.
And then Mercedes
just so he can tell him the time.
He won't even know you existed.
He won't even know your name.
Which is
it's so good. And then they shoot him dead.
And then meanwhile, while Ophelia is dying, she actually succeeded, and she went to the realm of the underworld or whatever, where she was greeted, and basically it was the correct thing to do to not kill the baby, because it was her final test. Her
innocent blood opens the portal and allows her to take her throne as the princess.
Yes. Because the real princess would never sacrifice an innocent.
Yes. But then she also dies in the human world.
She was, to some extent, innocent, I think.
Yes.
I think that was kind of the point.
It's a combination of both.
Yes.
She is herself innocent, and if she killed the child, she would not be innocent.
Yeah. Alright, good summary. That was a little long.
It was a little long.
Let's get into some specifics. How do you guys feel? Okay, the answer is kind of obvious, but how do you guys feel about the performances? What's your favorite?
I like the captain. He's such a
captain.
He's evil. So good. He's so good.
He's evil, and he does it well.
I mean, obviously, Doug Jones has a great physical performance, but in terms of like facial expression and voice and stuff, The captain's great. I like Mercedes a lot.
Mercedes is good.
Ophelia's pretty good
great.
too.
Ophelia's great for a child actor. She's 10.
Absolutely.
I didn't see anything wrong with her performance, so yeah.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, she's good. I think they're all very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the captain stands out.
He's magnificent.
He's such a good villain.
He's such a hateable person, and that's when you know you've done the villain right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's no sympathy for him.
And it basically entirely transcends language. Like, I'm hearing it in Spanish, but I can hear his anger. I don't understand. I mean, I know a little bit of Spanish.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
It's,
It's really, it's a depressing movie, but also kind of beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, that ending is, like, I describe it as, like, it's both happy and sad.
Yeah, and going into, like...
It's like, yay, Ophelia lives happily as the princess of the underworld. But then it's also, she dies in the human world, and you can interpret that the fantasy stuff was just her imagination.
Yeah, her, like, escapism. I don't really like that, but
way.
I can see how it would be. I prefer
the happy ending.
I don't like it, but I can see how it would be, how it would make sense.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I much prefer the fantasy world isn't real interpretation, because I think that's a lot more true to life.
It is a lot more true to life. I just don't
either
like
way.
I just don't want to like that.
Either interpretation is totally valid.
No, for what it's worth, okay. Do you guys know about Death of the Author?
Like, just the idea that whatever the author intended doesn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Death of the Author, so I don't take the author's word 100% seriously, but Guillermo has outright said the fantasy world is real in this movie.
So
I just find it weird that he made that kind of ambiguous then.
I said you can totally take it either way.
He also likes Death of the Author. He said his interpretation is the fantasy world.
Okay. That's his interpretation. You can take it out.
Well,
he's the person who made it, so you know.
I agree with him, but like I understand anybody that wants to interpret it the other way. It's just that's too sad for me.
I think it's so much more real, just to show
it
that
is real. I know.
People living
fascism sucks.
People living under a fascist regime need something to keep them alive, and honestly, this movie, in the end, fascism hard loses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like everyone, all the fascist army and the captain die horribly, and the rebels win. Like a pretty good victory,
and they
all things considered.
To raise for themselves as a good person.
Mercedes is a hero. Like, she's amazing.
Yes. Mercedes is more of a mother figure to Ophelia than her own mother is.
But that's not
still not a great mother figure. But she still says not to believe in the fantasies and all that.
Yeah, but there are times where it's like it feels like Mercedes takes more care of her.
Yeah, she does, basically.
She's like an alternate mother figure, especially after Carmen dies.
Well, Carmen doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are. It sounds like
I'm not
saying like Carmen's bad. I'm just saying like, I guess maybe not. She's a better mother figure, but she's like a surrogate mother figure.
I like the word alternate. She's an alternate mother figure.
Yeah.
She takes over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what surrogate means. Is she comes in.
Okay, but surrogate implies that she doesn't have a mom, which she does for most of the movie.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a word. Words are words.
Oh yeah, there's kind of a strange short scene where Ophelia tells a bedtime story to the mom, but she says it's for the son, and we get a little like kind of animated sequence.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember this.
It's very short. Apparently, it was longer originally, but they edited it down.
What happens in it? I don't remember.
It's about the rose that would give you immortality, but has thorns, so no one ever.
I really liked that segment.
And it very much shows the kind of people are too complacent. People aren't willing to suffer to get the good things.
And then eventually, because nobody ever picked the rose, it died.
Right.
And nobody got it.
And that's just the movie. You need to have the will to fight back in order to get anything you want.
Yes.
It's a. Do you guys have any other topics you want to get on?
That's about it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, like, kind of completing your thought that, like, Ophelia dies in order to win, basically. She
needed to
completes
die.
the tasks by dying.
It was required, and that's very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that she was told it was required. She was dying not to complete the test. She was dying because she didn't want to kill the baby. She was dying for what she believed in.
But that was the right decision.
It was the right decision, yes. She was not listening to what she was being told to, because what she was being told to do was wrong.
Right. Yeah.
She did it her way. And
that's very right.
Yes. Just wanted to make that clear,
Yeah.
It's a. I don't have anything else to say either. It's one of the. It's interesting having the only other Guillermo movie I've watched fully, without stopping, as I did with Crimson Peak, is Shape of Water, which is a very.
You watched Pacific Rim.
We watched Pacific Rim.
Oh yeah, that was Guillermo.
He also did Hellboy. He has a very, very just vast,
diverse,
diverse
filmography.
Yeah.
Okay, so after Shape of Water and Pacific Rim, this is by far the most political, thematic, emotional movie. Shape of Water is amazing, but it's not a political movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
It's a love story.
You can read into Shape of Water as political, but I don't.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie is very much trying to give a lesson, and I think it does that well. That's why I love that Spanish teachers show it in class, because I had in my high school. I know some people watched it in Spanish. I did, which makes me sad.
We watched it in class only because it was a movie in Spanish. Yeah, we didn't actually learn any of the history. We didn't learn any of the history about it. We didn't learn anything about it. We kind of watched it with very, just no context.
Okay, well, I hope other schools do it better. Sorry.
I mean, I was glad that I got to watch it, though.
I'm very glad I picked this. I'm glad I put my trust in Guillermo, because he's the man.
I'm not saying... I don't know if I'd want to watch this movie again, but I'm very glad I watched it.
I'm kind of glad I watched it again, because I watched it a while back, and I didn't know enough about the context and stuff. I enjoyed it back then. I just didn't know enough about its meaning. But I still... I like it still, and I enjoy it more now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this would benefit a lot from repeat viewings, too. I think if I watched it again, I would like it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there were moments that... The beginning it's really slow.
It is.
But you gotta build up over time. That's just how it is.
And there's some very awkward scenes, intentionally awkward.
Mm-hmm.
But as a whole, as a full movie, it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to get into ratings? Because
yeah, we basically already did.
Yeah. Yep. All right, then what does fantastic translate into?
Probably 8 out of 10.
I agree. I give this an 8 out of 10 too.
8.5.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I think it's really well done. I don't recall any music or anything like that, but everything I liked about it was a little slow at the start. That's why it's 8, but it's
once it gets
really
going,
good. Oh. But yeah,
from the Fawn's introduction onward, pretty much just
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get to the showdown.
Okay, it's me.
You.
So we've been talking a lot recently about getting into film history and classic film, and maybe serious film study, which we're not going to seriously study film. This is just us, having fun discussing movies. So I started to get urges to watch some very old movies.
How old are we talking?
How old are we talking here?
There's a certain type of movie that I love, and I always recommend to people when they're talking about film history. Because when people think of film history, they think, Citizen Kane, 30s, 40s.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really like is silent film.
Okay.
Because silent film is some of the funniest things I've ever seen. The skits, the just the acting.
Are you about to hit us with the Chaplin?
So I'm hitting you with some Charles Chaplin.
Oh yeah.
This is his last silent film, and apparently his best, called Modern Times. It's 1936.
All right.
Okay.
It is on the streaming service Canopy, which is free to college students. So
okay, yep, I've used it before.
I think this might be the oldest movie I will ever have seen. So,
this is gonna beat for us. This is gonna beat The Thing as oldest thing we've watched.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think right now the oldest thing when was The Thing made?
51.
No, that is the oldest thing I've watched so far. I was gonna say it was Godzilla, but no, yeah, that's the oldest thing right now. So this will be the new oldest thing.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, I've seen like old like video, but like not films, you know.
Right, yeah, not feature length. This is feature length.
So yeah, that's
alrighty.
that. Bye, everybody.
See you in part 2.
Goodbye.